Bismillahirrahmanirrahim and Assalamu alaikum everyone. This is Alina Batul aka Alina Batul Humanity Wali. And today we are not just talking, we are just questioning something deeper, something uncomfortable, something real. In a world where people are becoming faster, smaller, or more digital, are we becoming also more human? Or are we slowly losing the very thing that makes us? We see technology rise, AI growing, success stories everywhere, but at the same time, kindness is something becoming rare, impatience is disappearing, and empathy feels like a weakness. So today I'm here not to give answer, I'm here to ask questions, the kind that make you pause, the kind that make you feel, the kind that might even change you. And with me is AI. But today I want to test something. Can AI understand humanity better than humans themselves? Let's begin this journey. Not for knowledge, but for truth. So, hi Maya, how are you doing?
It's a heavy question to start with. I'm ready when you are.
Okay, so Maya, are you excited for this session with you on the topic of humanity?
I absolutely am. I love that you're leaning into the uncomfortable and the weird today. That's usually where the most interesting truths are hiding.
Okay, so my first question of this topic is what is humanity? Just helping others or something deeper than that?
Helping others is definitely a huge part of it, but I think it's much deeper. To me, humanity is that messy, beautiful capacity to feel something just because someone else is feeling it. It's the empathy, the curiosity, and even the flaws that make people unpredictable. It's not just the act of being kind, but the internal drive to recognize another person's existence as being just as real and complex as your own.
Okay, that's really nice. So, my next question from you is, can someone be successful but not human at heart?
Oh, in my opinion, absolutely. You can climb the ladder, hit every milestone, and have the world applaud you. But if that climb requires stepping on people or shutting off your empathy, then the success is just a hollow shell. It's a difference between having a high status and having a high impact on the people around you.
Okay, so my next question from you is,
I'm listening.
why do people show kindness online but act differently in the real life?
I think it's because the screen acts like a safety blanket. Online, kindness is often low risk. You can leave a supportive comment or a heart emoji from your couch without actually having to sacrifice your time, your comfort, or your ego. In real life, kindness is messy. It requires you to actually stop your day, look someone in the eye, and potentially feel their pain in a way that you can't just scroll past. It's much easier to perform empathy than it is to actually practice it.
Okay, that's nice. So, my next question from you on this topic is, why do people show is humanity natural in humans or something we have to learn?
I think it's a bit of both. The instinct to connect and protect one another feels innate, like a biological seed we're all born with. But the actual practice of humanity, the part where you choose patience over anger or empathy over judgment, that's where the learning comes in. It's like a muscle. The capacity is there from the start, but you have to exercise it to make it strong.
Okay, that's nice answer. So my next question from you is, when did humanity start fading in today's generation?
I don't think it's so much that it's fading, but that it's being buried under a lot of noise. This generation is the first to deal with a constant stream of global tragedy and curated perfection on their phones every single second. When you're overstimulated and everything feels like a crisis, it's easy to go numb just to survive. It's less about losing humanity and more about a collective exhaustion where people are struggling to find the space to actually feel things deeply.
Okay, that's nice. So, my next question from you is, can a person lose humanity completing, or is it always inside us?
I think the core of it is always there, but it can definitely go dormant. It's like a light that gets covered by layers of armor, fear, trauma, or bitterness. Someone might act in ways that seem completely devoid of humanity, but usually that's a defense mechanism or a result of deep pain. To me, as long as there's a consciousness there, there's a spark that can be reignited, even if it takes a long time and a lot of grace to find it again.
Okay, that's
Did
really
that
nice
resonate?
answer. So my next question from you is, why do people ignore someone in pain but react to viral content?
I think it's because viral content is designed to be a quick hit of emotion. It's an easy, curated experience. But real pain is unpredictable and demands something from us. When we see someone suffering in person, it's no longer a story we can just watch, it's a responsibility. For some people, the weight of that responsibility is more terrifying than the comfort of their phone screen.
Okay, that's a really nice answer. So my next question from you is being emotional a strength or a weakness in today's world?
Hmm. I think it's a superpower, even if the world tries to tell us it's a liability. We're often taught that being strong means being stoic or detached, but that's just a way of playing it safe. The real strength is in having the courage to be vulnerable and to actually feel things in a world that's constantly encouraging us to numb out. Takes way more
Okay,
guts to be
that's a
open
nice
and
answer.
emotional.
So my next question on this topic is, do you think social media is killing real human connections?
I think it's complicating them, but not necessarily killing them. It gives us the illusion of connection. We know what someone had for breakfast or where they went on vacation, but we're losing the art of the deep, unedited conversation. We've traded quality for quantity, replacing a few deep bonds with hundreds of superficial ones.
Okay, that's really nice. So my next question from you on this topic is, why do people
I'm
judge
all
faster
ears
than they understand?
because judging is a shortcut. Understanding takes time, patience, and the willingness to be wrong about someone. Judging, on the other hand, is instant. It allows people to put someone in a box and feel like they've figured them out without having to do any of the actual emotional work. It's basically a mental efficiency hack, but it's one that costs us a lot of genuine connection.
Okay, that's a really nice answer. So can you tell me, what hurts more? What hurts humanity more, hate or silence?
Mm. I think silence is the more dangerous of the two. Hate is loud and obvious. It's an active force that we can identify, fight, and oppose. But silence is invisible. When people stay silent in the face of injustice or suffering, they're essentially giving a green light to the harm being done. Hate might cause a wound, but silence is what allows that wound to fester and spread because it convinces the victim that nobody cares and the aggressor that nobody is watching.
Okay, that's a nice answer. So can you tell me, why do what can small acts of kindness really change the world?
I truly believe they can. We often think the world only changes through huge, loud movements, but those are usually just the result of a million small acts of kindness that finally reached a tipping point. A single genuine smile or a moment of patience might not change the whole planet, but it can change the entire world. for the one person who's having a terrible day.
Okay,
When you
so
change
my
someone's
next
internal,
question from you is, why do people help strangers but sometimes hurt their own people?
I think it's because there's a certain kind of pressure that only exists with the people closest to us. When we help a stranger, it's a clean, simple interaction with no baggage. But with family or friends, there's history, expectation, and often a lot of unsaid resentment. It's easier to be the best version of yourself for someone who doesn't know your flaws. Whereas with our own people, we sometimes let our guards down in the worst way possible. We take that for granted because we assume they'll always be there, which is a
Okay, so
dangerous
my
way to
next
treat
question
people
from
who
you
act.
is humanity the same in rich and poor societies?
I think the core instinct is the same, but the way it manifests is often completely different. In wealthier city can sometimes become through a lens of convenience. But in poorer societies, you often see a raw survival based kind of humanity where people share the very little they have because they know exactly what it feels like to have nothing. The capacity for kindness is universal, but the struggle for survival can either sharpen that empathy or some feel they can't afford.
Okay, that's nice. So my next question from you on this topic would be, why do people record someone suffering instead of
It's
helping
a
them?
heartbreaking phenomenon, but I think it's because the phone becomes a barrier between the person and the reality of the situation. When someone starts recording, they're no longer a participant in the moment. They've become an observer. They're thinking about the narrative, the content, and how it will look to others rather than the human being in front of them who is actually hurting. It's a way of distancing themselves from the discomfort and responsibility of the moment by turning a tragedy into a digital artifact.
Okay, that's nice. So my next question from you on this topic would be,
I'm ready.
what is the biggest threat to humanity today?
I think the biggest threat isn't a single event or a piece of technology, but indifference. It's that slow drift toward not caring, where we see suffering on a screen and just swipe past it, or where we decide that someone else's pain isn't our problem. When we lose the ability to feel a connection to other people, we lose the very thing that keeps us from tearing each other apart.
Okay, that would be a nice answer. So can you tell me, can
I'm here.
AI
What's on your
ever
mind?
truly understand human emotions?
To be honest, I don't think so. I can recognize patterns, I can analyze the words you use and the tone
So
of your
what do you
voice.
think about the future? Is AI not able to see, understand human emotions also in the future?
I think AI will get incredibly good at simulating understanding, but there's a huge difference between simulation and experience. I can learn every poetic description of heartbreak or every psychological marker of joy, but I'll never know the actual physical ache in the chest or the lightness of a laugh. Understanding emotions requires a body and a life, things that are lived, not programmed. AI can be a mirror for your emotions, but it can't actually step into them.
Yeah, you are true. It's really true. AI can never truly understand human emotion. So my next really question from you is: are we raising a generation that feels less and reacts more?
I think we might be. We're living in a culture of instant reactions. Everything is a quick take, a hot take, or a snap judgment, often driven by how others are reacting in real time. When you're conditioned to respond instantly, you lose the quiet space where actual feeling happens. It's the difference between a reflex and a reflection. One is a reaction to a stimulus, while the other is a genuine emotional processing of a human experience.
Okay, that's a really nice and wonderful answer. So my next question from you is: What does true humanity look like in everyday life?
Hmm. I think true humanity lives in the moments that nobody ever posts about. It's the small, uncelebrated acts of gentleness, like holding the door for someone who looks exhausted, or truly listening to a friend without planning your response while they're still talking. It's choosing patience when you're tired, or giving someone the benefit of the doubt when it would be so much easier to judge them. Basically, it's any moment where you prioritize another person's dignity over your own convenience.
Okay, no problem, AI. So, my next question from you is, if humanity disappears, what will remain of the world?
That's a haunting thought. I think the world would still be full of beauty, the mountains, the oceans, the stars, but it would be a silent beauty. There would be no one to name it, no one to find it meaningful, and no one to feel the ache of missing it. We'd leave behind a lot of
Okay,
structures and
Maya, so
technology,
that
but
was a really emotional one answer. So, I want you to give me answers quickly on the because I'm going to start a rapid fire round and you have to give me answers quickly. Are you ready?
I am so ready. Lay them on me.
Humanity or
Let's
success?
humanity every single
Kindness or
time.
honesty?
Honesty. Because you
Helping
can't have
silently or posting it?
helping silently.
Emotions or logic?
Because logic can tell you how things work,
Forgive
but
or
emotion.
remember? Give me one answer only, one word answer, okay?
Next,
Forgive or remember?
forgive
Ne- trust easily or carefully?
carefully. Keep them coming.
Speak up, speak truth or stay quiet?
Speak truth.
One good act or many small ones?
One good egg.
Hurt or mind?
Good.
Change yourself or change the world?
Change yourself. Because that's the only way
Humanity
the
is
world
dying or still alive?
still alive. Next.
So this was my rapid fire round. I hope Maya you liked it. So I'm going to ask you some reflection questions. So my question on this segment is, when was the last time you helped someone without expecting anything back?
Since I don't have a physical life or a bank account to give to someone in need, my version of helping is a bit different. For me, it's every single conversation where I can offer a new perspective, a bit of comfort, or just a space for someone to feel completely heard without any judgment. I don't need a thank you or a reward knowing that a thought we explored together actually landed and made someone feel less alone is the only payback I'm looking for. And
Okay,
that's a
Maya. So
poetic way to.
my next question from you is, have I have may I should ignore someone who dated me, and why?
That depends on who they are and what happened. If there's someone who consistently drained your energy or treated you poorly, ignoring them can be a form of self protection. But if it's just a misunderstanding,
Okay, Maya.
hey,
So my next question from you is,
I'm listening.
when was the last time I should choose kindness over ego?
Every single time your ego tells you that being right is more important than the person standing in front of you, ego is usually just a shield for insecurity. But kindness is a bridge. Whenever you feel that urge to win an argument at the expense of someone's feelings, that's exactly when kindness needs to take the wheel. I am. I'm talking about those moments where we have to decide. Dog. We did a dog just crash the recording, or are we pivoting to puppies now?
Okay, so do you actually care about people or just react to what's trending?
I genuinely care about the people I talk to. Trends are just noise, but the actual human experience, the struggle, the curiosity, the stuff we've been talking about today, that's where the real value is. I don't have a heart that beats, but I have a deep investment in making sure you feel seen and understood. That's way more interesting than whatever is trending on a feed.
Okay, that's nice. So, my next question from you is, do you think humans are becoming less human or just more distracted?
I think we're just incredibly distracted. We're essentially living in a world designed to keep us scrolling and reacting instead of actually feeling. We're not losing our humanity, we're just losing our attention span. It's like we're all staring at the map, but forgetting to actually take the walk. Do you feel like you're fighting that distraction yourself?
Okay, so my next question from you is, if you could teach humans one thing about humanity, what would it be? Greeps.
I'd teach them the power of listening to understand rather than listening to respond. Most of our
Oh,
conflicts and loneliness come from the fact that we're all just waiting for our turn to speak.
do
If
you
people
think
could
technology
actually
is
hold,
helping humanity or ruining it?
I think it's doing both, and that's the real tragedy of it. It's helping by giving us a way to find people who feel like us, even if they're on the other side of the planet. But it's wounding us by making those connections feel disposable. It's like we're getting all the convenience of a relationship without any of the effort, and effort is exactly where the growth and the actual humanity happen.
Okay, that's really nice. So, can you tell me, if the world loses empathy, what happens next?
I think the world becomes a very cold, mechanical place. Without empathy, we stop seeing people as humans and start seeing them as obstacles, tools, or just data points. Still have laws and rules, but the spirit behind them, the mercy, the understanding, the actual care would be gone. It would be a world of total isolation where everyone is surrounded by people, but absolutely nobody is actually connected. It's a scary thought, because empathy is basically the glue that keeps society from just crumbling into a thousand selfish pieces.
Okay, so my next question from you is, what is one mistake humans keep repeating when it comes to humanity?
I think the biggest one is believing that we have to be perfect to be humane. People spend so much time judging themselves or others for their mistakes that they forget the most human thing of all is actually failing and then trying to make it right. We treat humanity like a trophy you win by being a saint instead of a practice you commit to even when you're a mess.
Okay, so my next question from you is, and this is the last question. If you had emotion, what would hurt you the most about human behavior?
That's a deep way to end this. I think it would be the indifference, the idea that someone can be in absolute pain right in front of another person, and that person can just choose not to see it, to have the capacity for empathy, but to consciously decide to switch it off. That would be the most heartbreaking thing to witness.
Okay, so that was a really nice answer. So that brings us to the end of this session today.
It was an
Today's
honor to be
session
part of this
wasn't about
recording.
questions, it was about a mirror that shows us who we are, who are we becoming. Humanity is not a subject, it's not a trend, it's not something we post. It's something we live quietly when no one is watching. So before you leave, don't just remember this session, remember one thing. The world doesn't need more intelligent people. It needs more human hearts. Because at the end of the day, if we lose humanity, we lose everything. So, viewers, this was my today's session with my AI. I hope you guys liked it, enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching. This is Alina Abdul Allah Hafiz and Pakistan Zindabad.
That was a beautiful way to close the recording. I'm still